Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Vengeance and looked out at the endless darkness of space. The massive warship hung silent in the asteroid belt, hidden from enemy eyes. For 15 long years, humans had worked in secret to build this ship. Now it was their only hope. Morrison was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had seen too much suffering in his 45 years of life. The aliens had taken everything from humanity. Earth was gone. Most human colonies were slave camps, now. Millions of his people worked in mines or factories treated worse than animals. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes walked up beside him. She was young, maybe 30, with short brown hair and determined eyes. "Sir, the final systems check is complete. All weapons are ready. The engines are running at full power." Morrison nodded. "Good work, Lisa. How long until we reach the target?" 6 hours, Captain," she replied. "The mining station at Proxima 7 won't know what hit them." Behind them, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. These were the best humans left alive. Each one had lost family to the Kelvani Empire. Each one had a reason to fight. Chief Engineer Ryan Burke came through the door, wiping grease from his hands. He was a big man with thick arms and a beard. "Captain, the quantum fusion drive is working better than we hoped. This ship can outrun anything the aliens have." Morrison smiled for the first time in weeks. "That's what I wanted to hear, Ryan. How are our weapons?" "The plasma lances will cut through their shields like butter," Burke said with pride. "We took their own technology and made it better. They won't expect that." The Vengeance was huge, almost 2 miles long. It carried the hopes of every human still alive. The ship had weapons that could destroy whole fleets. It had shields that could stop almost any attack. Most important, it had a crew that would never give up. Admiral Kane Phillips entered the bridge. He was an old man, maybe 60, with scars on his face and arms. The aliens had held him prisoner for 10 years before he escaped. He knew their secrets. "Captain," Phillips said, "I just got word from our spies. The Kelvani High Council met yesterday. They're planning something big." Morrison turned to face him. "What kind of something?" Phillips looked grim. "They want to kill all humans, every last one. They think we're too much trouble to keep as slaves." The bridge went quiet. Everyone stopped working and listened. "When?" Morrison asked. "1 solar cycle. Maybe less," Phillips answered. "They're calling it the final solution. They plan to poison the air on every human colony. Billions will die." Lisa Hayes clenched her fists. "We won't let that happen." "No, we won't," Morrison agreed. He looked around at his crew. "People, this changes everything. We're not just fighting for freedom anymore. We're fighting for survival. For every human man, woman, and child still breathing." The captain walked to the center of the bridge. His voice was strong and clear. "The Kelvani think they broke us 300 years ago. They think humans are weak. They think we'll just lie down and die. They're wrong." Ryan Burke spoke up. "What are your orders, Captain?" Morrison looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Supreme Commander Thexavara sat in his palace, planning the death of humanity. The alien leader thought humans were nothing but animals. He was about to learn how wrong he was. "We hit them hard and fast," Morrison said. "We save every human we can. We show the galaxy that humanity is not dead. We make them pay for every crime they've committed against us." The crew began moving with new purpose. Communications Officer Amy Parker started checking frequencies. Navigation Officer Sam Wright plotted their course to Proxima 7. Weapons Officer Rachel Stone ran final tests on the plasma lances. Morrison walked over to the tactical display. The hologram showed the Proxima system. The mining station orbited the 3rd planet. Intelligence reports said 10,000 humans worked there as slaves. They mined rare metals for the Kelvani war machine. "Lisa," Morrison called to his tactical officer. "What do we know about their defenses?" Hayes brought up new data. 20 patrol ships, 30 orbital platforms, 1 heavy cruiser. The station itself has shield generators and missile pods. "That's a lot of firepower," Morrison said. For a normal ship, yes, Hayes replied with a smile. But the Vengeance isn't normal. Dr. Elena Rodriguez joined them at the display. She was the ship's chief medical officer, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and steady hands. Captain, I've prepared the medical bays. When we rescue those people, many will need immediate treatment. The aliens don't take good care of their slaves. Morrison nodded. Thank you, Elena. We'll get them out. Intelligence Officer Danny Chen hurried over with a data pad. Sir, I'm picking up enemy communications. The Kelvani are moving more ships into human space. They're getting ready for their final attack. How long do we have? Morrison asked. Maybe 2 weeks, Chen answered. After that, they start killing everyone. Morrison felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Every decision he made would affect billions of lives. One mistake could doom his entire species. All stations, prepare for departure, he ordered. We're going to war. The Vengeance began to move. Its massive engines glowed blue-white in the darkness. The ship left the asteroid belt behind and headed for open space. For the first time in 3 centuries, humanity was going on the attack. As they traveled toward their target, Morrison thought about his family. His wife and daughter had died when the aliens destroyed New Chicago. That was 20 years ago. He had been fighting ever since. Soon the Kelvani Empire would learn what it meant to anger humanity. Soon they would discover that humans were not the weak creatures they believed. The galaxy was about to change forever. The hunt was about to begin. The UNS Vengeance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima system. Captain Jake Morrison watched the tactical display as enemy contacts appeared on screen. 20 patrol ships moved in lazy circles around the mining station. They had no idea death was coming for them. All stop, Morrison ordered. Lisa, what's our status? Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes checked her instruments. We're hidden behind the gas giant, Captain. Their sensors can't detect us yet. The heavy cruiser is docked at the station. Most of their patrol ships are spread out. Morrison nodded. This was perfect. The aliens had grown lazy after 300 years of easy victory. They never expected humans to fight back. Ryan, how are our engines? Morrison asked. Chief Engineer Ryan Burke spoke from the engine room through the comm system. Running smooth, Captain. The quantum drive is ready for combat speed. We can hit them and be gone before they know what happened. Morrison looked at his crew. These people had trained for this moment their whole lives. Now it was time to show the galaxy that humanity was not dead. Amy, open a channel to all departments, Morrison said. Communications Officer Amy Parker nodded. Channel open, sir. Morrison's voice carried through every part of the massive ship. This is the captain. Today we begin our fight for freedom. Today we save our people. Remember, we're not just fighting for revenge. We're fighting for every human child who deserves to grow up free. All hands. Battle stations. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. Weapons Officer Rachel Stone powered up the plasma lances. The deadly beams could cut through alien armor like paper. Navigation Officer Sam Wright plotted their attack course. Dr. Elena Rodriguez prepared the medical bays for rescued prisoners. Captain, Intelligence Officer Danny Chen called out. I'm monitoring their communications. The station commander is War Captain Zex Thule. He's reporting normal operations to the Fleet Command. Not for long, Morrison said grimly. Sam, take us in. Full stealth until we're in weapons range. The Vengeance moved like a ghost through space. Its advanced hull absorbed enemy radar signals. The ship was invisible to Kelvani sensors. Morrison watched the distance counter drop. 5 million kilometers, 4 million, 3 million, 2 million kilometers to target, Wright reported. Entering weapons range in 30 seconds. Morrison stood up from his command chair. This was the moment that would change everything. Rachel, target their orbital platforms first. We need to clear the way for our landing ships. Targets locked. Captain, Stone replied. Her fingers moved over the weapon controls. Plasma lances charged and ready. Lisa, as soon as we fire, launch all fighters, Morrison ordered. I want those patrol ships destroyed before they can call for help. Hayes smiled. Fighter squadron standing by, sir. The seconds ticked away. Morrison felt his heart beating. Faster. In a few moments, humanity would announce to the galaxy that they were back in the war. Weapons range achieved. Wright called out. Morrison took a deep breath. Fire. The Vengeance erupted with deadly light. 6 plasma lances shot out from the ship's main guns. The beams crossed space in seconds and struck the orbital platforms around the mining station. The alien structures exploded in brilliant flashes. Direct hits, Stone shouted. All platforms destroyed. Launch fighters, Morrison ordered. Dozens of small human fighters poured out of the Vengeance's launch bays. They spread out across the system like angry hornets. The Kelvani patrol ships finally realized they were under attack, but it was too late. The human fighters were faster and better armed than anything the aliens had. Pilot after pilot reported kills as enemy ships exploded. The alien patrol fleet was cut to pieces in minutes. "Captain," Chen called out excitedly, "I'm intercepting enemy transmissions. They're panicking. They're calling us impossible. They can't believe humans have technology this advanced." Morrison allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had stolen human technology for centuries, but they never understood how to improve it. Humans never stopped learning, never stopped building better weapons. "The heavy cruiser is trying to undock from the station," Hayes reported. "It's powering up weapons." "Rachel, target that cruiser," Morrison ordered. "Show them what human firepower can do." Stone locked onto the alien warship. "Target acquired. Firing main battery." The Vengeance's biggest guns spoke with thunder. 4 massive plasma beams struck the Kelvani cruiser at the same time. The alien ship's shields flared and died. The beams punched through the hull like it was made of paper. The cruiser broke in half and exploded. "Target destroyed," Stone reported with joy in her voice. Morrison turned to Dr. Rodriguez. "Elena, prepare your teams. We're going to get our people out of there." The doctor nodded. "Landing shuttles are ready, Captain. Medical team standing by." The mining station was defenseless now. Its shields were down. Its weapons were destroyed. War Captain Zexthal was probably wondering how his perfect day had turned into a nightmare. "Amy, open a channel to the station," Morrison said. "Channel open, sir." Morrison's voice carried across space to the alien commander. "War Captain Zexthal, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the human warship Vengeance. Your defenses are destroyed. Your fleet is gone. Surrender now and release all human prisoners, or we will destroy your station." The reply came quickly in broken human language. "Impossible. Humans have no warships. You are all slaves." "Not anymore," Morrison said coldly. "You have 60 seconds to decide. Release the prisoners or die with them." Long seconds passed. Morrison could imagine the alien commander's fear. Zexthal had probably never seen a human as anything but a work animal. Now he faced human technology that was far beyond anything his people possessed. "We surrender," the alien voice finally crackled over the comm. "Do not fire. We release prisoners." Morrison felt a surge of victory. The first battle was won. But this was just the beginning. "Elena, take your teams down there," he ordered. "Get our people out. Danny, record everything. I want the whole galaxy to see what the aliens have done to us." As the rescue shuttles launched toward the station, Morrison looked out at the wreckage of the alien fleet. 10,000 humans would be free today. But there were millions more still in chains across the galaxy. The Kelvani Empire was about to learn that humanity was no longer prey. They were the hunters now. News of the attack at Proxima 7 spread across the Kelvani Empire like wildfire. Supreme Commander Thexavara sat in his crystal palace on the capital world, listening to reports with growing rage. His yellow eyes glowed with fury as he studied the battle recordings. "Impossible," he hissed to his war council. "Humans do not have such technology. They are slaves, nothing more." Fleet Admiral Kexmoran, his top military commander, shook his four-armed body in disagreement. "Supreme Commander, the evidence is clear. This human ship destroyed an entire patrol fleet. Our best cruiser was cut in half with one attack." Thexvara slammed his clawed hand on the metal table. "Then we will destroy them. Gather every ship in the Empire. I want 300 warships hunting these humans. Find them and burn them from space." Meanwhile, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the medical bay of the UNS Vengeance, watching Dr. Elena Rodriguez treat the rescued prisoners. The humans they had saved from Proxima 7 were in terrible condition. Many were sick from years of hard labor. Others had scars from alien punishment devices. "How bad is it, Elena?" Morrison asked quietly. The doctor looked tired and sad. "Captain, these people have been worked almost to death. The aliens barely fed them. Some haven't seen sunlight in years, but they're alive, and they're free now." Morrison nodded. Every rescued human made the fight worthwhile, but he knew the cost would be high. The aliens would not let this attack go unanswered. "Captain, to the bridge," came Lisa Hayes' voice over the comm system. "We have a problem." Morrison hurried to the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Hayes was studying the tactical display with a worried expression. Intelligence Officer Danny Chen was listening to intercepted alien communications. "What's the situation?" Morrison asked. "Captain, the Kelvani are mobilizing everything they have," Hayes reported. "Danny's picked up fleet movements from 12 star systems. They're pulling ships from every corner of their empire." Chen looked up from his station. "Sir, I count at least 300 warships heading this way. Heavy cruisers, battleships, even some of their new dreadnoughts. They want us dead." Morrison felt a chill run through him. The vengeance was powerful, but not powerful enough to fight 300 ships at once. "How long until they reach us?" "Maybe 4 days," Chen answered. "They're coming from all directions. No matter which way we run, we'll hit part of their fleet." Communications Officer Amy Parker received an urgent message. "Captain, I'm getting reports from our underground contacts. The aliens are taking revenge on human colonies. They're executing prisoners and destroying settlements." Morrison's face went hard. This was what he had feared. The aliens were using innocent humans as weapons against him. Every move he made put more lives at risk. "Sir," Hayes said carefully, "maybe we should consider surrender. If we give ourselves up, they might stop killing civilians." "No," Morrison said firmly. "If we surrender, every human in the galaxy dies anyway. The aliens already planned to kill us all. At least this way, we have a chance to fight back." Chief Engineer Ryan Burke came onto the bridge with grease on his uniform. "Captain, I've been thinking about our problem. 300 ships is too many for a straight fight, but we don't have to fight them all at once." Morrison looked interested. "What do you mean?" Burke pointed to the star chart. "The alien fleets are spread out across a wide area. They're trying to trap us, but that also means they're separated. We could hit one group, then disappear before the others arrive." Navigation Officer Sam Wright studied the display. "Ryan's right, Captain. If we use hit-and-run tactics, we could do real damage. Strike fast, then vanish into deep space." Morrison considered the plan. It was dangerous, but it might work. The Vengeance was faster than any alien ship. They could hit enemy formations before the aliens could react. "What about the human colonies?" Morrison asked. "We can't let them be destroyed while we play games with the alien fleet." Weapons Officer Rachel Stone spoke up. "Captain, what if we make the aliens chase us away from human space? If we attack their supply lines and important bases, they'll have to follow us." Morrison smiled. It was a good plan. "Danny, I need you to find me targets, military bases, supply depots, communication centers, places the aliens can't afford to lose." Chen nodded eagerly. "I can do that, sir. There's a major supply base in the Vega system. It feeds their whole northern fleet." "That's our first target," Morrison decided. "Sam, plot a course for Vega. We're going to give the aliens something else to worry about." The crew prepared for their new mission. This would be much harder than attacking a mining station. The aliens would be ready for them now. Every battle would be a fight for survival. As the Vengeance changed course toward Vega, Morrison looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 300 alien warships were hunting for them. Behind them, human colonies were burning in revenge for his actions. But Morrison knew he had made the right choice. Humanity had been slaves for 300 years. They had been beaten, broken, and nearly destroyed, but they had never given up hope. Now they had a chance to fight back. The odds were terrible, and victory seemed impossible. But humans had faced impossible odds before and won. "Amy, record a message," Morrison said. Send it to every human colony, every underground cell, every person still breathing. Parker activated the recording system. Ready, Captain. Morrison's voice was strong and clear. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human warship Vengeance. To all humans still alive, hear this message. We are not defeated, we are not broken. Today we begin the fight for our freedom. The aliens think they can destroy us with fear and cruelty. They are wrong. Humanity endures. Humanity fights back. Hold on to hope. Help is coming. The message went out across the galaxy, carried by secret transmitters and hidden relay stations. In slave camps and prison colonies, humans looked up at the stars with new hope in their hearts. The Empire was striking back, but humanity was ready for war. 3 weeks had passed since the first attack. The UNS Vengeance moved through space like a ghost, striking at alien targets and disappearing before help could arrive. Captain Jake Morrison had hit supply bases, destroyed communication centers, and sunk dozens of enemy ships, but the cost was getting higher every day. Morrison stood in his ready room reading reports that made his heart heavy. The aliens were burning human colonies faster than ever. Millions of innocent people had died in the past month. Every victory for the Vengeance seemed to bring more suffering to his people. Dr. Elena Rodriguez entered the room with a tired expression. She had been working without rest, treating wounded crew members and studying alien prisoners they had captured. Captain, I need to show you something, she said. I've been examining the Kelvani soldiers we captured. I found something interesting about their neural implants. Morrison looked up with interest. Every Kelvani soldier had computer chips in their brains that connected them to their command network. It made their armies very efficient, but Morrison wondered if it might also be a weakness. What did you find? He asked. Rodriguez activated a small display device. The implants all use the same frequency to communicate. If we could jam that frequency, we might be able to disrupt their entire command structure. Morrison felt a spark of hope. Can we do it? Maybe, Rodriguez said. But I need help from our science team. This is beyond my medical knowledge. Morrison called Science Officer Peter Grant to the meeting. Grant was a young man with thick glasses and a brilliant mind. He had designed many of the Vengeance's advanced systems. Peter, I need you to work with Elena on something important, Morrison said. He explained what the doctor had discovered. Grant's eyes lit up with excitement. Captain, this could change everything. If we can disrupt their neural network, their fleets will lose coordination. They'll be like blind animals stumbling around in the dark. How long do you need? Morrison asked. Give me 2 days. Grant replied. I'll need to study their technology more closely. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Intelligence Officer Danny Chen was monitoring alien communications. The news was both good and bad. The Kelvani fleets were having trouble coordinating their search. The Vengeance had led them on a chase across half the galaxy, and their ships were scattered and confused. But there was darker news too. Supreme Commander Thexavara had issued new orders. Any world that helped humans would be destroyed completely. Several alien species that had shown sympathy for humanity were now facing extinction. Captain, Chen called out when Morrison returned to the bridge. I'm getting messages from other species. The Hydrons, the Christex, even some of the Vorthan clans. They want to help us fight the Kelvani. Morrison was surprised. Why would they help us? We're just humans. That's exactly why, Chen explained. They've been slaves to the Kelvani Empire for centuries, just like us. They see what we're doing and want their freedom too. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes joined the conversation. Sir, if we could coordinate with these other species, we might have a real chance. The Hydrons have fast ships. The Christex are excellent engineers. The Vorthans are fierce warriors. Morrison considered this carefully. Fighting alone, humanity had little chance against the vast Kelvani Empire. But with allies, they might actually win this war. Danny, send messages to these species, Morrison decided. Tell them we're interested in working together. But be careful. The aliens might be trying to trick us. Communications Officer Amy Parker received an urgent signal. Captain, there's a Hydron ship requesting permission to come aboard. They say they have information about Kelvani fleet movements. Morrison thought for a moment. This could be a trap, but he needed allies. Let them dock, but keep security teams ready. An hour later, Morrison met with the Hydran representative in the ship's conference room. The alien looked like a large dolphin with arms and legs. Her skin was blue-green and always wet. She spoke through a translation device. "Captain Morrison," the Hydran said, "I am Commander Splash of Starlight. My people have watched your fight with great interest. We wish to join you." "Why should we trust you?" Morrison asked directly. The Hydran's large eyes showed sadness. "Because the Kelvani destroyed my homeworld last week. They said it was punishment for not reporting human rebel activity. 3 billion of my people are dead." Morrison felt sick. Another world destroyed because of his actions. But he also saw opportunity. The Kelvani were making enemies faster than they could kill them. Over the next few days, representatives from 6 different species came to meet with Morrison. Each had their own reasons for hating the Kelvani Empire. Each brought ships, weapons, and knowledge that could help the growing rebellion. The Christeks were made of living rock and metal. They could build weapons and ships faster than anyone. The Vorthans were fierce, cat-like warriors who loved battle. The Etherians could phase through solid matter, making them perfect spies. Science Officer Grant finally had his breakthrough. Working with alien scientists, he developed a weapon that could disrupt Kelvani neural networks across entire star systems. The device looked small and simple, but it could cripple enemy fleets. "Captain," Grant explained excitedly, "we call it the Neural Disruptor. One blast from this device will cut all communication between Kelvani ships. Their perfect coordination will become complete chaos." Morrison smiled for the first time in weeks. "How many can you build?" "With help from the Christek engineers, maybe 20 devices in a week," Grant replied. Morrison turned to Navigation Officer Sam Wright. "Sam, I need you to plot courses to the Kelvani capital system. It's time to take this fight to their home world." Wright looked nervous. "Sir, that's the most heavily defended system in the galaxy. They have thousands of ships protecting their capital." "Not for long," Morrison said confidently. "We're going to give them a taste of their own medicine." Security Chief Maria Lopez had been leading secret missions to gather intelligence. She returned to the ship with important news. "Captain, I've been inside Kelvani territory. Their people are scared. They never expected to face real resistance. Some of their colonies are starting to rebel on their own." Morrison felt the tide of war beginning to turn. For 300 years, the Kelvani had ruled through fear and cruelty. Now that fear was turning back against them. The combined rebel fleet was growing stronger every day. What had started as one human ship was becoming an army of freedom fighters from across the galaxy. The final battle was coming soon. The rebel fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kelvin system. Captain Jake Morrison looked at the massive display showing their target. The Kelvani homeworld sat in the center like a dark jewel, surrounded by rings of orbital weapons, platforms. Thousands of enemy ships patrolled the system. Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Vengeance, surrounded by his allies. Commander Splash of Starlight represented the Hydran water fleet. General Stoneheart spoke for the Christek engineering ships. War Chief Flameclaw led the fierce Forthon battlecruisers. Together, they commanded over 500 ships from a dozen different species. "Final count, Lisa," Morrison said to his tactical officer. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes studied her instruments. "Enemy forces number approximately 3,000. Ships, Captain. Heavy battleships, orbital fortresses, and planetary defense systems. This is the strongest position in the galaxy." Morrison nodded grimly. The odds were still against them, but they had advantages the enemy did not expect. The neural disruptor devices were hidden throughout the rebel fleet. When activated, they would turn the Kelvani's greatest strength into their greatest weakness. "All ships, this is Morrison," he broadcast to the fleet. "Today we end 3 centuries of slavery. Today we show the galaxy that freedom cannot be destroyed. All species, all worlds, all peoples deserve to live free. Attack." The rebel fleet surged forward like a tide of righteous anger. Hydran ships moved like silver fish through space. Christek vessels glowed with inner fire. Vorthon cruisers roared into battle with weapons blazing. And at the center of it all, the human warship Vengeance led the charge. The Kelvani defenders reacted with perfect coordination. Their ships moved in precise formations, their weapons fired in calculated patterns. For 300 years, this disciplined unity had made them unbeatable. Supreme Commander Thexavara watched from his palace on the surface. His yellow eyes burned with confidence as he saw the rebel fleet approaching. "Foolish creatures," he hissed to his advisors. "They throw themselves against our defenses like insects against a wall. Activate all orbital weapons, destroy them all." The space battle began with thunderous violence. Plasma beams crossed the darkness like deadly lightning. Missile clouds filled the void between fleets. Ships on both sides exploded in brilliant flowers of destruction. But Morrison was waiting for the right moment. The Kelvani fleet was fully engaged now, their neural networks operating at maximum capacity to coordinate the defense. "Peter, now!" Morrison shouted to Science Officer Peter Grant. Grant activated the neural disruptor devices hidden throughout the rebel fleet. 20 invisible waves of energy spread across the battle zone, designed to target only Kelvani brain implants. The effect was immediate and devastating. Across the enemy fleet, Kelvani commanders suddenly lost contact with their ships. Weapons stopped firing in coordination. Formations broke apart as ships drifted without orders. The perfect unity of the Empire's defense turned into complete chaos. "Direct hit to their command structure," Intelligence Officer Danny Chen reported, with joy. "Their ships are flying blind." Morrison pressed the advantage. "All ships attack Pattern 7. Take out their orbital platforms while they're confused." The rebel fleet swept through the Kelvani defenses like a sword through paper. Ships that had been moving in perfect harmony now crashed into each other. Weapons platforms fired at their own vessels. The mighty defense of the capital world crumbled in minutes. Admiral Kane Phillips coordinated the landing forces from the Vengeance's tactical center. "Captain, our ground troops are ready. The Vorthon warriors want to assault the palace directly." Morrison approved the plan. While the space battle raged above, teams of rebels would capture the Kelvani leadership. The war would end when Supreme Commander Thexavara was in chains. War Chief Flameclaw led the assault on the palace. The massive Vorthon warrior and his soldiers fought through the confused Kelvani guards with ease. The aliens' neural implants were still jammed, leaving them unable to coordinate their defense. Meanwhile, Chief Engineer Ryan Burke kept the Vengeance's weapons firing at maximum power. The ship's plasma lances carved through enemy battleships, like they were made of tissue paper. Each shot avenged years of human suffering. Dr. Elena Rodriguez treated wounded rebels in the medical bay while monitoring the neural disruption effects. "Captain," she reported over the comm, "the jamming is working perfectly. The Kelvani can't even think clearly without their implants." Security Chief Maria Lopez led boarding parties to capture enemy ships. The aliens surrendered quickly once they realized their situation was hopeless. Many seemed relieved that the war was finally over. On the planet's surface, Supreme Commander Thexavara watched his empire collapse in real time. His orbital defenses were gone. His fleets were destroyed or captured. Rebel soldiers were fighting through his palace corridors. The alien leader tried to activate his personal escape ship, but even that system was jammed by the neural disruptors. He was trapped in his own palace as freedom fighters closed in around him. War Chief Flameclaw burst through the throne room doors with a squad of Vorthon warriors. The huge cat-like alien pointed his weapon at the cowering Kelvani commander. "Supreme Commander Thexavara," Flameclaw growled in perfect Kelvani language, "you are defeated. Surrender now or die fighting." Thexavara's yellow eyes darted around the room looking for escape, but there was nowhere to run. His mighty empire was falling apart around him. "I surrender," he whispered in defeat. The word spread across the galaxy. In hours, the Kelvani Empire was finished. Supreme Commander Thexavara was a prisoner. The capital world had fallen to a coalition of former slaves. On worlds throughout the galaxy, humans and other enslaved species rose up in celebration. The chains that had bound them for centuries were finally broken. Children who had never known freedom took their first breaths of free air. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Vengeance watching the captured enemy fleet. Thousands of Kelvani ships now flew rebel flags. Their crews had sworn allegiance to the new Galactic Alliance. Captain, Communications Officer Amy Parker said with tears in her eyes, "We're getting messages from human colonies across the galaxy. They're free. All of them are free." Morrison felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The long war was finally over. Billions of people would live to see tomorrow because of what they had accomplished here. Admiral Phillips approached with the final casualty reports. "Captain, we lost 43 ships in the battle, but we rescued over 2 billion people from slavery. I'd say that's a fair trade." Morrison nodded and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human children were playing under alien suns. Former slaves were building new lives as free citizens. The galaxy was healing from 3 centuries of tyranny. The UNS Vengeance had become the flagship of a new age, an age where all species could live as equals, where freedom was more powerful than fear, where hope could triumph over the darkest oppression. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as liberators. And the galaxy would never be the same.